Hello, I'm Alan Carr. I'm the senior historian of the laboratory. Over our history, we've been a nuclear weapons laboratory. We've been a nuclear science laboratory. Today, we're a multidisciplinary laboratory. We're going to talk about these three phases today, starting back during the dark days of World War II. During World War II, the Allies were in a perceived race with Nazi Germany to build a nuclear weapon. Also, at the same time, hundreds of Americans were dying in combat every day. This is the world that the laboratory was born into. The laboratory had its first major technical conference in April of 1943. Over the next 27 months, the laboratory developed nuclear weapons successfully that would be used to help end history's deadliest conflict. The world's first nuclear test was called Trinity, and it was tested July 16, 1945. Trinity produced a yield equivalent to 21,000 tons of TNT. These new weapons could be dropped out of an airplane and destroy multiple square miles of a city. It was revolutionary. Although Nazi Germany had been knocked out of the war, Imperial Japan continued to fight on, refusing to surrender. As such, the United States used nuclear weapons against the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Fortunately, only a few days after the atomic attacks, the war came to an end, but not before 60 to 80 million people had been killed worldwide. After the war was over, a lot of people thought that the laboratory might go away altogether, but as the Cold War solidified, so too did the laboratory's future. The laboratory continued to refine the weapons that were developed during World War II, as well as develop an entirely new weapon, the hydrogen bomb. In these early days of the laboratory's history, almost the entire focus was on nuclear weapons. That would begin to change, though, in the mid-1950s. During this era, the Nuclear Science Laboratory was born. The laboratory continued to work on nuclear weapons, but also started to look at advanced technologies in many other areas of nuclear science. For instance, the laboratory built nuclear rocket engines to explore the solar system. The laboratory had programs to harness thermonuclear energy in the form of electricity. Also, there was a program to build satellites to hunt for clandestine nuclear tests. These satellites would lead to the signing of the world's first nuclear arms control agreements and would open up an entirely new era in the Cold War. In the 1970s, the laboratory would once again evolve, this time into a multidisciplinary laboratory. The weapons program remained at the heart of the laboratory's mission. We continued to do work on many different nuclear science technologies. But for the first time, the laboratory started to do research in major areas beyond nuclear science. The nation faced a new type of national security challenge, the fuel crisis. The laboratory would respond by developing technologies that would help combat this new type of problem. The laboratory's mission diversified as the 1980s progressed. The Soviet Union formally dissolved at the end of 1991, bringing the Cold War to an end. But what about the laboratory's future? The laboratory went through a substantial time of change during the 1990s as full-scale nuclear testing came to an end and the Stockpiled Stewardship Program was born. The U.S. stockpile of nuclear weapons was robust, highly sophisticated, but not designed to last forever. In the Stockpiled Stewardship Program, laboratory scientists would invent a way of maintaining nuclear weapons without full-scale testing, using some of the most powerful computers and diagnostic tools the world had ever seen. For decades now, laboratory scientists have been doing pioneering work in many scientific fields. Our scientists are exploring Mars right now. They're modeling the spread of pandemics. They're battling the effects of climate change. The laboratory started out as a temporary military outpost during World War II. It grew and evolved into a nuclear science laboratory and ultimately into a multidisciplinary institution. Today, we have a broad and diverse workforce that's taking on a broad and diverse array of scientific challenges. Our mission at Los Alamos National Laboratory has always been national security. We endeavor to create a safer and more sustainable future for our nation and the world.